Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about organizational culture. For simplicity of understanding, I have divided this series into three parts. So today we will be covering part number 1. So let's start. My name is Mahendra Kane and I have been working in field of industrial automation since last 16 plus years. I have so far worked on in companies like Siemens, so which are typically multinational companies and have multiple offices across globe. So the idea for this webinar came to my mind that we all talk about technical things a lot, but then what really goes inside the organizations and how do we make best of our working and what kind of things we can learn from this organizational culture. So I thought of talking about that. Before we begin, a small token of gratitude from my end to the lot of different ideas and images which I have borrowed from internet. And the things which I'm going to talk about are really not rocket science. These are very simple things. But I have used various images from net so that you can understand the ideas very clearly. So what is organizational culture? A simple definition is basically it is the sum of values and rituals which serve as the glue to integrate the member of the organization. Typically, if you can see, if all of us eat Punjabi food, so a typical veg handi has lot of different vegetables and then a gravy also to hold that vegetables together. So organizational culture in simple language is just like the gravy of this veg handi. What happens if we have a bad organizational culture or a poor organizational culture? Then whatever strategies you do, they don't go well unless you have a proper bonding or proper gluing within the teams. So you can have all the right strategies in the world, but if you don't have the right culture, it doesn't matter. The culture of any organization is also shaped by the worst behavior the leader is willing to tolerate. Now you can take a similar example of a chain. So the strength of the chain is the weakest part in that chain. So similarly, if the leader is allowing the worst behavior to to tolerate, so that becomes the culture of the organization. That can define really what is wrong with the organization. So when we talk about organizational culture, there are a lot of things which come to our mind. So main thing obviously is people, because we are not robots, we are human beings, and when multiple human beings come together, the organization starts. Apart from the people part, there are a lot of other things like leadership, the values, the technology these days, motivations, tools, workplace, right? Rules and regulations, processes. So a lot of things comprise of an organization culture. Now before we go further, let's talk about what are the difference between this mission, vision, core values, culture. So we keep on hearing these jargons whenever we work in various organizations. So a simple definitions of each. So mission basically is focusing on the current business and purpose of the organization. It really defines why this organization is existing and what exactly it is doing. Core values basically are the guiding principles to conduct that business. So they are always linked to mission and vision. While a vision is focusing basically on the future plans, and it is closely linked with mission and values and culture. So at the end, the culture basically is the collection of different practices, processes, interactions for doing the business. It is basically the glue which holds the organization together. So it is also like the mission, vision, core values, it is all linked with the culture. So far we talked about mission, purpose, values, objectives. What is really not seen from outside world is basically the hidden part of the iceberg. So we all know the tip of the iceberg. The theory is 1/8 of the part is visible from outside, but 7/8 of the part is typically hidden inside the water, below the water. So what is really not seen many times is these assumptions, old ways of doing things, typical office politics, negativity, personal values, emotions, conflicts, competition. So all these values are also quite hidden in the organizational culture. I believe cartoon is a very interesting way to depict the sarcasm. It really brings out a great sarcasm if you want to show. So I am showing you some cartoons now, some animations which can clearly tell the differences or the pitfalls of a poor organization. So have you seen this image? It's very interesting. The leader is telling why must we always communicate? Why can't you just listen to me? So that is typically a dictatorship. So like I am the boss and you must listen to me. Similarly, a lot of managers deal with they have to they are fond of doing micromanagement. So what is the micromanagement basically? So in this cartoon, the boss says to the lady, that I would like you to be more self-reliant, show more initiative, and take greater personal responsibility. But don't forget to check with me, right? So whatever you do, you should get the approval from me first. So if everyone starts micromanaging their people, then it becomes a big problem for the entire organization. The third is the typical disconnect, the upper management which is sitting in ivory towers, and then the poor guy who is really doing work. So if that management is not really in tune with the people who are really working, then this kind of disconnect happens. So you can see that in this image, the upper management has a meeting and they tell that they are really not able to understand why, even though there are so many job cuts in the work is still not getting properly. But they are not able to understand that since there are hardly any people left who is really there to work. Right? So this is typically a disconnect between various levels in the organization. This one is my favorite. So it talks about the shooting down the ideas. Like, so this Dilbert basically his boss is asking him basically that they need to have they need to foster a culture for innovation. So anyone has any ideas? So Dilbert is giving some ideas, and the boss is saying, does anyone have a suggestion that is not that ridiculous, right? So if you start shooting the ideas every now and then obviously no one will be willing to come forward and discuss their ideas. So that will really bring the non-collaborativeness in the organization. Some more things, we all love meetings. There are lots of meetings in every day in any organization, right? But if we are not consciously determining whether the result of this meeting is really going to impact the work which we are doing, then these meetings are really useless. Another good cartoon I found is basically that lady is talking about outcomes. So we are just measuring the height of the files. We are not really measuring the outcomes. A lot of red tape is around, a lot of processes, but those processes are not helping the customers or the organization. They are just fulfilling their own purpose. The last but not least is the communication, which is one of the most important parts in any organization. So the HR lady is telling that communication within the company is really bad according to this report, and the boss is saying, what? I am not even aware of the report, right? So this kind of disconnect is there between different levels, and then that can really create a lot of troubles in the organization. So in nutshell, let's see what are the pitfalls of the poor organizational culture. So we start with this misconnect and miscommunication at various levels. So if there are, like a company has a lot of hierarchies, and if these hierarchies are not talking to each other properly, then there can be a lot of misconnects or disconnects between these hierarchies. Next is dictatorship in place of collaboration. So if there are power centers within the organization, only 3-4 people controlling the entire organization, then a lot of conflicts can come, and then a lot of quarrels can happen, a lot of fights can happen. And then who is a dictator that will rule the company? Next is micromanagement. So if your boss is keeping a poking nose in everything what you are doing, then you are really as an employee become very frustrated that you are not getting enough space to work. So that's micromanagement. One of the biggest problems is if we are not able to identify the high payoff activities, then it's really a big pitfall for the organization. So we all are aware about this Pareto principle, right? So basically 80% of business comes from 20% of people or 20% of customers. So this 80-20 thing is very, very much applicable to the high payoff activities within the organization. So some key things, some key tasks, if we are doing properly, and if they are resulting in high volumes of business, then we should always focus ourselves on those. If those are not clear, then we will end up spending a lot of time, end up wasting a lot of time in the organization. When things are not clear, there are a lot of grapevines, there are a lot of speculations, gossiping, so we lose a lot of time in this. If there are frequent changes in the responsibilities, right? So today I am boss of or in charge of something, and let's say in 1 week time someone else becomes, and I am not even aware. So if some kind of things start happening like this, then there is really a problem. So such kind of things, such kind of frequent changes in responsibilities can really confuse everyone. Another thing is, if we are shooting down each and every idea which is not, which I am not able to like, so then that is that is reducing the culture of innovation, innovative ideas, right? So if the innovation starts reducing, then obviously the growth of the company will start reducing. There will not be any new ideas to work on. Another thing is many meetings. So if there are lots of meetings, if you are running from one meeting to other meeting and really no time to do any work, then this can also create a lot of time wastage. So ultimately all these pitfalls, and obviously there are a lot more, but the point is basically here, if there are too many pitfalls in the organization, then it can really impact on the business. See, ultimately at end of day, we are all here to make profits. We are all here to make sales, revenue, income, right? So if that is not happening, then there is no point in this having this organization. So we have to be very careful in these pitfalls of what kind of pitfalls are there in this organizational culture, and work around it. So we come back to the old the thing which I already discussed. What are the pillars of the great organizational culture? So obviously everything starts with people, and if people are managed properly, then they contribute to the technology, the motivation, innovation, leadership, and other things. So I found a very nice cultural alignment framework. So it talks basically about four things: flexibility, interdependence, stability, and independence. And then for each pillar we have this purpose, caring, order, safety, authority, results, enjoyment, and learning. So all things go hand in hand, and if we are clear what all authorities we want to give to the employees or the people who are running the organization, then they work properly with each other using a teamwork. Some things which they have to do on their own, they have to perform properly on themselves. The company should provide a stability, the organization should provide a proper stability, and obviously there should be a flexibility in working. So if we are taking care of all these four aspects, then automatically we can think of starting a big revolution in the organizational culture building. So before we go further, if we just let's stop and ask ourselves some questions. So what is really motivating me to work here every day? If I'm waking up every morning and saying, oh my god, I have to go to office, that's really a trouble thing, then there is a problem. If you are feeling excited that you want to go to office and do your work, then it really makes change, and you are good to go for a good organization. Then another question is, am I really contributing to success of organization, or am I just passing the time? Third is, do I really feel safe working here? So safety is not in terms of just the operational safety, or the kind of the safety which you talk about when we are into factories and other things, but also the safety whether you are really feeling safe, whether your boss is not really shouting, your co-workers are really gelling with you well. As a female employee, nobody is harassing you at the workplace. So that kind of safety I am talking about. Third is, am I really satisfied with my work? If I am satisfied with my work, then obviously it shows into results of the company. Am I clear with my roles and responsibilities? Are they really changing each and every day, or are they really changing in short terms? Another question is, am I guiding others to be successful? So far the upper questions were typically talking about myself, but now since I am also working with other colleagues, I should also be seeing myself as a role model for the others to work, right? So if I get a chance to guide others to be successful, am I really doing that, or am I just passing the buck? Another question is, do I really communicate with others properly? So if my communication is not clear, not in just terms of just talking, but in terms of my actions, in terms of the way I am working, if that is not clear, then there is a problem. Am I enjoying my work? See, ultimately at end of day, we all come to enjoy the work. Obviously the first priority is to earn money, but if the work is not really creating any enjoyment, then that money is not enough. Then we always, the natural inclination is to move to some other work or some other organization which can give chance to enjoy the work. Next question is, do I really feel welcome by my colleagues? So many times some people, when they walk in, the complete atmosphere is become tense, right? So maybe because of their authority, maybe because the way they behave with others. So if I am not welcomed by my employees, my colleagues, then it's not right place to work, right? So it is not only that how I am behaving with others, but it also makes me better if others are also behaving properly with me, and the same goes vice versa. Most important fear I think is, if I am not learning everything or new things regularly, and not improving my own performance, then am I really improving the performance of my organization, right? We talk about the sharpening the axe. If you read the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, the author Stephen Covey talks about sharpening the saw or sharpening your axe, right? So unless you learn few new things, how can you improve yourself? How can you upgrade yourself? And obviously, how can you then contribute to success of the organization? So when we talk about organizational culture, everything really starts with you. If you want to change the world, you have to first change yourself. Then only you can change the world. Right? So when we talk about organizational culture, we are really talking about ourselves, how we are able to work with other guys and how they are working with us. So ultimately, the key is just to treat your staff or your other guys how you would like to be treated. So if you give respect, you will obviously get respect back. If you shout, obviously the environment will not be conducive for work. So ultimately the decision is yours. If we are positive in building a great culture, then obviously rest also will follow with us. Right? So when we talk about great organizational culture, there are two foundations for this. One is leadership and another is communication. So many times you have seen that great leaders are communicating and great communicators are always lead. So take an example of Mr. Narendra Modi. So when he talks, you really listen. You keep all your work down and you simply listen the way he talks, right? So naturally, if you are able to communicate properly, the people will always see you as a role model and they will always listen to you, at least at start, right? Obviously, your actions after that will determine how well leader you are. But to begin with, if you are a great communicator, then the leadership automatically, naturally comes to you. Leadership is communicating to people what their worth is, right? So they can, many times they don't understand or they don't really realize the potential they have. But as a leader, if you are able to communicate that potential to them properly, then definitely they can start seeing that in themselves, and obviously the organizational culture can improve, right? So the difference between mere management and leadership is communication. If you are just bossing or if you are just giving some orders, and instead of that, if you are collaborating and if you are creating a great organizational culture, then that leadership is really standing out. So with this, we stop here, and in subsequent parts, we will also explore more thoughts on leadership and communication, right? So just before I go, the parting thought is basically we have all the time in the world to change, but always see that whenever there is still a chance, do try to change yourself. Thank you. Thanks a lot.